I want to talk today about self-worth. First of all, let's establish that there is value to self-worth. And when I talk about self-worth, I mean authentic self-worth. So not your ego, not your identity, not false humility, but actual self-worth. So most of us have had our self-worth impacted earlier in our life. And so we find that we're not necessarily as worthy as we would like to be. Or we find that we're using coping mechanisms. We're using our career or our marriage or a skill that we have to overcome or compensate for a lack of self-worth. And so this conversation is meant to really get at the bottom of what's in the way and what to self-worth. So if we don't have self-worth, we find ourselves being insecure. We might have anxiety. We might be engaged in compulsive activities, smoking or drinking or overworking in order to hide our lack of self-worth. Or we can have an overblown sense of self-worth. I'm the best, I'm the most important, I'm the most powerful, I'm the most in control. And none of these things are going to leave us with a sense of satisfaction at the end of the day. We're not going to have access to having fun necessarily. Although we may be throwing ourselves into quote unquote fun activities, we are in those activities from a place of insecurity, and so we're inhaling them or we're being careful with them or something other than just being present and enjoying the activities. So my goal in working with people is to have them have a fully integrated life so that they can enjoy the experience of life and work as well as the satisfaction that comes from having that experience. All right, so paths to self-worth. So we've got the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the familial, the marital. It goes on and on. There's a lot of places that you have to look at when it comes to self-worth. But you can begin to take apart the things that you're using to feel worthy. Because really, you want your self-worth to come from the inside out. And that's a challenging practice, but it's worth taking on, because as long as your self-worth is external to you, it leads to insecurity, it leads to anxiety, it leads to fear, and that can take a lifetime. So I'm going to encourage you to begin to do the work to establish, let's start with the physical. Establish a physical relationship with yourself that leaves you with a sense of self-worth. So there's a basic 5 elements. I call it Ryan's 5 because my trainer years ago, Ryan Smith, said focus on these 5 things if you want to have fitness in your body: food, sleep, stress, water, exercise. So you want to do quality and quantity of each. So food is important. You want to be eating healthy food. You want to manage and minimize fats and carbohydrates and sugars and the things that are yummy but not so good for us. And you also want to be noticing the quantity of the food that you're eating. For many years, I was looking at what am I eating for? What's the experience I'm trying to have or get through this food? And is that second helping in order to try to get an emotional experience that I really should be getting from life? So there were lots of dynamics to food for me. And I still practice with fasting from sugar, say, or fasting from white flour, because I notice it makes a profound difference in my body and also in my psychology and my emotions. There are sugar moments that I notice during my day where, oh, this is the time where I would eat sugar. And that's me being driven by something from the outside in, and I'm working on not having that run my life. There's no real answer for how much water we're supposed to drink, but drinking water is good and drinking pure water is good. And so making sure that you're drinking water, not just coffee, or that you're not avoiding water. Sleep is critical. It's interesting, I'm making this video during the coronavirus, and I need between 10 and 12 hours of sleep during this virus, whereas before, 7 or 8 hours was optimal for me. So I'm just being natural and noticing there is more stuff going on. I'm carrying more of a load, apparently, and I need more sleep. And so I'm taking that sleep, and I imagine that as this dissipates, I'll go back to my 8 hours a night. So looking at what's enough sleep, what's too much sleep, what's the optimal amount. 8 hours is optimal for me. I can do my day based on 7, but I know I'm going to get tired right around 3 o'clock. And so I practice getting to bed on time and waking up on time so that I've got that. I use sleep as kind of the gas in my tank. So food, water, sleep, stress. How are you reducing stress? I've got a skateboard behind me. I love my skateboard. My family bought it for me a couple of years ago for Christmas. I skateboarded as a child, and I'll just go for a half-hour skate along the coast where I live in Santa Cruz, California, and that's good exercise. Anything longer than 20 minutes is good exercise, and that definitely reduces my stress. Meditation, yoga, playing with my dogs, breathing, napping, reading encouraging materials, listening to music. There's lots of different ways to reduce stress. So what are yours, and do you have it as a daily practice? And then exercise. Like I said, anything longer than 20 minutes is good exercise. I like to do 5-6 days a week, sometimes even 7 days a week of exercise. And so for me, it's anaerobic one day, weight training, and then aerobic the next. So either skateboarding or bicycling or both some days. I've got a bicycle I love, and I enjoy getting out on it, and it's heavy enough so that it's good exercise for me. So I'm currently 59, and it was only this past year that I read an article that said, look, after the age of 50, 52, you've really got to give up trying to gain muscle. I am an ectomorph. My body type is ectomorph, which means I'm slender. It's difficult for me to gain weight and hold the weight. And I've been trying to get muscle my entire life to be a different body type, which is not possible. And I'm vegan and vegetarian for the last 40 years, so very natural lifestyle, and definitely guilty of overtraining. So I hurt myself once or twice a year from pushing and lifting heavy weights and trying to gain that muscle mass. And just this last year or so, really got the message, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. My job is to tone what I have and switch to lighter weights and higher repetitions. And so I'll just maintain my body for the rest of my life and be the 59-year-old, which feels really good. So I encourage you to be appropriate in your exercise. Don't be trying to make up for lost time. Don't overdo it. Don't overtrain. Don't hurt yourself. And really get the benefits of exercise, moving your body, being out in the open, breathing fresh air, interacting with others. If you love the gym like my wife and child and I do, you go to the gym. Not currently, but when it opens back up and it's safe again. And you just gotta check your ego at the door, because there's always gonna be somebody more fit than you. And so your job is to compete with yourself, not other people. And so all of those things contribute to a sense of self-worth. The virus has definitely, it's brought our family closer together, but it's also revealed some challenges in our marriage. And so we've been at work on that. And so for many years, serving my wife, supporting my wife, getting her approval was my main goal. And again, we're outside in when I'm doing that, so not as powerful as it could be. And recently have been working on inhabiting my masculinity, reading David Deida and some other material to really be the masculine energy in our relationship, because my wife really wants to inhabit the feminine. And when I abdicate the masculine and I take on the role of beta male, where I'm supportive and nice and agreeable, then my wife is forced to inhabit the masculine, which she doesn't want to do, but she does. And suddenly we're in this off-balance relationship. So really working on being masculine and inhabiting the alpha part of myself, which is not how I spent my life. So it's a new practice, and it includes my posture and my voice and my actions and my speaking and my also being quiet and how I listen, what I see, what I take action on. It's a lot. So pretty fun to have this next practice and thing that I work on mastering. So I'm going to stop there. That's a lot. I hope you're taking notes, and if not, please rewatch and take notes and start some practices that lead to you having a sense of self-worth. And perhaps I'll do a part 2 to this because there's still more to talk about. All right. Thanks very much. That is all.